What's going on, guys? It's Ben here from BH Aquatic, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this really epic mason jar aquarium. Alrighty guys, so the question is where did I come up with the idea for this video? Well, I was actually watching Challenge the Wild's video when he made a wine glass aquarium, and I thought it was a great idea, so I decided I would copy it, obviously make it my own, and put some advantages to doing it the way that I wanted to make it personally. So, telling you guys why I chose the mason jar officially is because the mason jar, not only does it have great character, not only does it look good, and personally I think it looks good with the aquascaping inside of it, it also has the option to have a chrome lid that screws onto the top threading on the top rim of the mason jar. So the question we're now asking is, how does this benefit what we're doing? It benefits because this lid also has a rim, an inside rim, that goes around the inside of the lid to the mason jar. And the lid rim, it will act as a preventative, just as those plastic rims that go around the outside of aquariums to prevent things like snails from exiting the tank, especially since we're down to a minimum amount of stocking that we can put into the tank, such as snails and inverts. So, with so few stocking options, snails being probably the best bet since they don't need a ton of oxygenation, it works perfect. Alrighty guys, so to start off you're going to need a mason jar like this one. Whatever type of substrate you choose to put at the bottom of your mason jar, for instance I chose this black sandy substrate, aquascaping substrate from Petco. Whatever you want to decorate your aquarium with, I chose the stone just because it takes up the most part of the mason jar, but it still looks really cool. It has some really nice detail. The chrome cover to the mason jar, and although this is not necessary, I do feel like it adds character to the mason jar, makes it look cooler. And lastly, whatever you're going to stock your mason jar aquarium with. For instance, I chose red onion nerite snails, just because nerite snails, no matter what kind you choose, they're pretty good about, they don't need a ton of oxygenation, so they don't really need the filter that some fish or some shrimp might need. Alright, let's get right into it. So, to start off, I'm just going to unzip my bag here, and I'm going to, take a handful of this black aquascaping soil. I'm going to simply put it into the mason jar like so. Oop, spilled a little bit, but that's alright. It's an easy cleanup, because you can see the black. It's the reason why I chose it. It's easiest to see, easiest to clean up. You want to make sure you fill it up just to the bottom of the mason jar letters here. Now that we have filled the substrate up just to the bottom of the mason jar letters here, it's time to fill up the mason jar with water just enough, just a little bit above to the top of the mason jar letters here at the bottom here, just so that the sand, it becomes saturated with water, so that after a while, when we fill it up to the top, the sand does not float up to the top as the water rises. So for this, I'm using Poland Springs bottled water, fresh water here, so it's spring water. 100% natural, of course. There's no chlorine in it, nothing like that. It should be completely fresh. In all honesty, I never actually read it, but as far as I know, it is completely fresh. This, I feel, would be the best... your best bet going with bottled water, just because you have the least amount of chance of getting chemicals that you might get in like your wells and like tap water and stuff like that. So remember, just get bottled water. Doesn't matter what kind, just try and get something that doesn't have that many chemicals. Obviously, now that's all we got to do. Uncap the water bottle, and like I said, fill it just up to the top of where the mason jar letters are. There we go. So, as you can see, inside the water here, I don't know if you can see that, but some of the sand is floating. So, giving that sand some time to saturate in this water will definitely be helpful. So I say give it around 5 to 10 minutes before continuing on. Alrighty, so now after waiting for about 5 to 10 minutes, to be totally honest, there will be some sand still floating at the top. There always will be. You're not going to get it all by letting it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. You might get it all if you let it rest for a couple of hours, but you know, that's all that's really necessary is the 5 to 10 minutes. That's all we're going to do now is we're going to put in the decorations for the tank. Now, I know this seems very plain, especially on the black, but I'm simply putting in this gray rock. I mean, look at it compared to the size of the mason jar. It's actually pretty large, so it's going to take up a large amount of space in the mason jar. So, that's all you have to do to add this in. Obviously, put it through the top, station it however you want in the mason jar. Make sure it's stationary though, because the mason jar is glass, of course. You don't want it bouncing around. And as far as it looks actually pretty cool from different angles. I mean, the reason I chose the mason jar obviously is because of the character that it provides. But you're gonna see what I mean as soon as we put it underneath the light here. I have a nice big light, bright, shining. It's gonna look really cool. Alright, so now that we've put in the decoration, or at least I've put in the decoration that I like the best with the substrate and the glass, thing that I think that looks most formal, we're going to take our Poland Springs water bottle, or in your case, whatever you choose, hopefully something that has the least amount of chemicals. We're going to simply fill it up and fill it up to the top. You don't want to fill it up to the brim up here. What you want to actually fill it up to is this line right here. Now, depending on where you get your substrate from, this substrate did originally come from Petco, but the reason why it's cloudy is because obviously I'm reusing this from a tank I had previously, and that is why I have it stationed in this plastic bag. Now, that's all you have to do now is simply go and grab your livestock, like these Nerite snails, red onion Nerite snails I have here, and you know, put them in. If you're stocking your mason jar aquarium similarly to me, and you're doing it with snails, something easy that doesn't need a ton of oxygenation, then this is how you're going to go about putting the snails into the aquarium. Now, obviously, some snails are very fragile, so what you want to make sure you do, you take the snail in your hand, make sure that the main invert, the live part of it inside the shell, is pointing upwards or downwards while you hold it. You want to place it, make sure that you place it at the bottom of the aquarium with the inside here facing downwards so that it can latch onto the ground, the substrate, and start moving around as soon as possible. Personally, I was having trouble getting the Nerite snails into the bottom of the substrate so that they could start digging around as soon as I put them in the tank. So I went and I grabbed my medium aquascaping tweezers here, and it's all you got to do is reach the two tweezers here around the outside of the snail, kind of like this, and you just flip it over, and it's pretty simple. So that's a solution to that problem if any of you run into it. Now that I've gotten all the Nerite snails, like this one here, and this one way over here, now that I've gotten them into the ball mason jar here, so all you gotta do is, if you decide to, of course, pull it backwards here, take your chrome topping here, just screw it on. And I mean, as much as I feel like it adds character to the aquarium, there's also an inside rim here. If I unscrew this inside rim that goes around here, it also acts as another blocking point so that the snails can't pass it if they do come out of the water. So it's just another way of kind of stopping them, saying you can't do that, and in my past experiences it has worked. Alrighty guys, so this is the mason jar complete with the light that I have over it. I just have a basic hood light with a grow light inside, going directly over the top of the mason jar. The mason jar top is open, there's a defendant there. This is a day after I did the build, obviously, because there's no bubbles in there, no oxygen bubbles, but there is enough oxygen for these red onion snails who have started to move around to breathe and stay alive. So overall, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video as much as I have enjoyed making it. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.